Hello and welcome back. Thanks for tuning in to the Rich at Heart podcast. I'm Rudy. This is Sade. And we're back with another episode today. And we're going to talk a little bit about what's labeled toxic masculinity and toxic femininity, or feminine energy.
Has it been classified that?
I've heard some guys classify as toxic
femininity.
I feel like Finding Nemo.
Femininity. Oh, okay. I just didn't know if that was actually a term that was being thrown around.
I've heard it used several times. Okay. By several, I mean maybe twice. But
it's controversial.
But I think it's pretty hot. It's a hot button right now. People are on both sides of the fences when it comes to this. There's Andrew Tate, Fresh and Fit podcast, all this masculine stuff that people are getting the pitchforks and coming after, torches and things like that. And then on the other side of the aisle, there's what they would label as soft men or women who are too masculine, and things like that, coming for the tradition. Yeah, coming for the traditional man and causing a separation. But I don't know. I think personally, it's a divide that's being wedged in between us for a certain reason. But tell me, what do you know about both sides of the aisle? What have you tuned into? What have you heard?
Yeah, I just feel like there's this massive war, if you will, against between men and women. There used to be a time where life was about the man and the woman and what they created together. Now it's both sides are fighting to be heard and to be validated. And I feel like that comes out to men as being hyper feminism or I feel like they have a negative connotation still, even though men now think that they're more progressive and they're yeah, I'm for women's rights, but at the end of the day we're seeing that they're really not. They're seeing, to me, my perspective is they're seeing us powerfully run shit without them, because now we have higher rates than ever of women having babies on their own.
Right.
They're creating their own families. They're not waiting for a man to have what they need. Having it all doesn't necessarily mean having a man anymore. And now I feel the men are starting to take offense and it's that masculine thing of me Tarzan, you Jane, you need me. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's part of women taking ownership and having a voice, and then to me it's men kind of not fixing their egos and not being able to deal.
Right. So I guess is it a change in the regime, right? Are things changing because this is where ultimately things evolve to, is breaking down what's traditionally the family, right? Traditionally the roles, the gender roles, if you will, where the man is the protector, provider, and the woman is the nurturer and, basically the caregiver type thing for the kids and the man. Is that breaking down? That's what a lot of people are arguing, is that they're breaking down those traditional roles, and we're now getting into a place where it's almost untapped or unexplored territory. Because for years, if you really look at the male and female dynamic, for years, it's been the guy goes to work, comes home, the house is clean, dinner's cooked type thing, and he's the one providing. But then with inflation, we can't do that now like we did in the 1950s, because there's not enough money to go around to buy groceries, gas, and all that shit. So now both parties have to work, and it's more of a partnership, I feel like. But a lot of people look at that and they think, oh, well, now it's a breakdown of the traditional, the traditional roles. What do you think?
But I think that's been something that's been happening over the span of history. There's a time where women didn't have rights. They couldn't work. They had to stay home. Their only job literally was to take care of the house and the home. And then over time, that was changed. Women now have the right to vote. They can go to work, and now they could be a contributor to the household and the income. And then we trickle down like into the 80s, and it's like now like there's a crack epidemic, there's what was it, like welfare like came into play, right? And now the government has their hand over how they can tell you to like live your life, right? So and they women and people like they just feel like that was like a large driver of like driving men out of the house, because like if you had two incomes, you didn't qualify for housing, low income, food stamps, things like that. So you almost had to like choose between like being whatever we knew as like a nuclear family to like, well, shit, like the kids got to eat, you know? So like the man, he did slowly, I feel like start to get pushed out. But then now like we're in a place where men are like fighting more for like their rights as parents and to, you know, have benefits and rights and things like that. So I just feel like the family structure is always going to be changing, like what that looks like. Because now we have same-sex couples. We have a large community of people that, grand families. Like we have a program here in Ogden called Grand Families. And that's, it basically supports family members that take care of other family members' kids. There's a large population of grandparents who are raising their grandkids. Right, yep. And so there's a whole, you know, programming surrounding that. So when people are like, I want a family, like, okay, well, what does that look like? That can look so many different ways. But yeah, I don't know.
That's such a good perspective on it. And that was really an insightful look, because it has changed because of our environment's changing, right? Welfare, things like that, you know, programs and stuff that are kind of designed to assist the single parent, right? That
it's not designed to assist, it's designed to enable and keep.
And it ends up enabling. Yeah. Because it's true, especially like being...
It's rooted in assistance, but it's not really assistance.
Yeah, but it's not really assistance, because there's so many people that you will find out there that are getting benefits, right? Through the government, through, you know, aid, whatever, and they're reliant on that. They become dependent on it, and they're like, okay, well, I can now afford to feed, clothe, and, you know, do all this for my children without a man. And then that breeds a person who's going to be a little bit more like, I don't need you. We don't need the traditional family. I want my independence. I want my freedom type thing, right? And I guess that's where a lot of people are looking at it. And I honestly think a lot of people who have like a lot to say about this particular divide aren't even living it. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of guys who are like, women should be in the kitchen. Women should be, you know...
They don't have a girlfriend.
Yeah, they don't have a girlfriend. They don't have kids. They're not married. You know what I mean? So
nobody wants them. Yeah, so they're the ones nobody wants.
So they're the ones that have a picture of, like, how it should be without actually being in a relationship, you know, to say anything. Or how it was.
But not anymore.
Yeah, right. And I think, like, really you can aspire for whatever type of relationship you want, right? But... at the same time, the woman doesn't have to rely on the man like she used to. Like, that's changed. So change with it type thing. Like, it's just, there's no longer, unless you are a guy who is like a CEO of a company, or, you know what I mean? Or is making a bunch of money, and then you can afford to get a woman who doesn't need to work and then have her home all day doing all your shit, you know what I mean? And all that stuff. There's probably women out there who would gladly do that for a lifestyle and things, but every woman shouldn't feel a certain role. You know what I mean? Just like every man shouldn't have to feel a certain role. And really, there's not enough of those roles to go around. Like, I don't think every man can fill that traditional role. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's guys out there who just don't have that ability to be a true provider.
And I thought you were going to say, like, he can't, like, build a house. He can't fix a toilet.
Well, there's those guys, too. Yeah. There's those guys, too, yeah. And that goes... that is a problem. But there's guys who just don't do that. They can't do that, and they're weeded out. You know what I mean? Like, it used to be, if you can't do... Okay, it used to be, a long time ago in human history, if a guy couldn't hunt, and a guy wasn't a fucking alpha, you know, I'm going to go out there with the pack, and we're going to bring home a fucking elk for the village to eat, he would die. He would fucking be... He wasn't contributing to society, right? He would probably be looked at as a fucking... They would cut his balls off and be like, okay, you're a eunuch for my concubines now because you can't fucking hunt. You can't take care of the village. You can't fight in war. I'm going to chop your balls off because you don't need them, and you're going to watch the concubines all day. You know what I mean? So there was always been, like, guys who just can't live up to it. Or even women who can't, live up to the standards that society needed them to be in. But we're in such a liberated, free society now that there actually is room for those people.
Don't you think the standards now are so high, though? That's why women want and desire the ultimate beauty, the ultimate, material things now, because they see it and they want to grasp it and have it. Whether, back then, if it was a comfortable lifestyle because the man was providing, but now today we have social media, Instagram, stuff like that. You could see visually.
It inflates.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I want this nice stuff. I deserve this stuff too. So they go and work for it and they go and get it. But is it at a cost? Because successful people, all they do is work.
Yeah.
And they don't really have time for anything else.
Very true.
So is it worth that sacrifice?
I think, like, are you saying is it worth the sacrifice
of what desire and wants, instead of it being where it's just modern, humble, maybe something like that.
Okay, like, is there like a trade-off? Like, yeah, like I feel like you said, like social media and Instagram and the internet, it's made those things like attainable. Like regular people can do it now. Before, like, we used to like watch celebrities and we were just like, oh my god, like I can't even like imagine like what their life would be like. Oh my, where'd they go to get the work done? Or like it was always like some like top secret, like they went away, they came back and they like looked different. Now, like I could go to the same plastic surgeon as a celebrity, like, you know what I mean? Like, so even like society has changed to like their standard of prestige, right? It's like plastic surgeons are going to take on the celebrity and they're also going to take on this regular everyday schmo that has the money. Like, you know what I mean? That's brought them more revenue. But I feel like, I think we do sacrifice that because it's like it's based on, it's merit based, right? Like, you got, like, we always talk about bad bitches, like we go back to that, like it's about what you're seeing like on the internet, and like you, like as regular women, like we don't want to feel like we're not that, like, so like if I can like work a few extra hours to get those lashes done or like whatever, I'm going to like work and hustle and do that so I can do that for myself. And I feel like that's might be like where the man feels pushed out a little bit, because like now they're like, I got a job, like I'll work some extra hours, like I'll pick up a shift, I'll pick up a second job before I pick up your broke ass. So like I feel like men are feeling like maybe like emasculated in some way.
Do you feel like men should want more desires and work harder for it?
Yes.
You think that should be a necessary thing, or do you think that's more dividing them?
Well, you know what? I think that for that very reason, women wanting to aspire to have more for themselves, it should push a man to want more to have to provide. You know what I mean? Like it should push him to a different echelon. It should push him to a different degree of competitiveness and drive. You know what I mean? But instead, a lot of these guys want to sit around and fucking complain and be like, oh, well, you're just being too masculine. You're being too much like a man. You want to work these extra hours and this and that when you should be, at home, or you should be doing this for me and this and that. It's like, dude, no, you should, as a man, see that and be like, oh, okay, now I got to work harder. I got to do this more. I got to do that more. I got to at least compete with my woman, right? You shouldn't, like, a good, healthy relationship, I feel, is you guys are both aspiring to do better, right? One might do better than the other for a little while, but then it's like that, boom, boom, here, I'm here now. Boom, I just went up here. It's driving you to go up here. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's healthy.
Yeah, that's healthy in like an ideal world where people are in the same like mental space and educational space and progression. Like, but very little times you find in a relationship like both of you guys are in the same place at the same time. But I feel like for men still it's like somewhat ingrained in them, like they can't like make less than a woman, like you know what I mean? But I feel like now, like, and like where I feel like some of this division comes from is like the contrast of like the times, right? Yeah. So like like people like in my dad's age category are looking at like up and coming like new artists, like who's out now, and they're like, these aren't real men. Like, what are they wearing?
Okay.
Like, they're wearing these skinny jeans. Like, they're wearing dresses. Like, Lil Uzi Vert like came out in that dress, and then like we have like Lil Nas X's. So they're like, man, these aren't even men. Like, we were men back in our day. Like, these aren't men. But and then there's like, you know, there are men in that like maybe my brother's generation who was like, well, if a girl wants to pay for a meal on a date, like she can, like, you know what I mean? Like, that don't make me any less of a man. Like, they're like, I think that they're way more comfortable in their manhood than like our dad's generation, even like our generation, like, you know what I mean? Because like we were still brought up on like with like boys are this way, girls are that way, boys shouldn't cry type of shit. Like, I feel like our generation of men still kind of think that. We're like getting into like the 23s, 24s, like they're like, yo, I don't give a shit. Like, she can pay for half. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm not any less of a dude because like I let her do that.
But does that make those dudes lazy? Because if they're settling and being like, oh, it's all fine. Like, hey, she can pay half, I can pay half. They're just gonna settle.
Or is it realistic?
They're gonna get to a certain point where they're like, oh, I don't have to do anything more. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it feels good as a man to be able to provide things. Like, it feels good, and then if I can't provide it, or, you know, the woman is able to do it on her own, I'm like, okay, well, what can I do to get us a little bit more? What can I do to push us a little further? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if these guys today are like, oh, I'm good, I'm just going to sit here, you know what I mean? It's like, no, you can't fucking sit there. Like, a man doesn't have time to rest in his life. You have kids to think about. You have a legacy to leave behind. You know what I mean? If your kids see you stop at a certain point, they're going to think, well, that's as far as I can go. Because I'm his son, I'm his daughter, whatever, right? That's as far as I can go. But if they see you striving for more, they're going to be like, I got to go more because I never seen mom or dad quit, right? So is this whole like 50-50 thing creating lazy people? You know what I mean? Because like you look at like China, places like that could be the world's superpower in 10 years or less.
Yeah.
They still have traditional roles in their society. The man is the provider. The man goes and does all this stuff like that. In, you know, the old motto, it's a man's world type thing. The reason why they say it's a man's world is because men can go to a place of competitiveness that not too many females can go, right? To a place of dog eat dog. Like, I have to kill it to feed and provide for my family. I have to do more, work harder, you know, maybe take a deal that's going to hurt me in the short run but pay off my kids in the long run type thing. These are things like men have to deal with, right? So if our men here in the States aren't doing that and they're just settling, are we going to get to a place where we're complacent and now we can't compete with the world?
Or is it, are people today more ethical and more like moral? Because back then, people, they don't care about the consequences of the world or the effects of it on the future. You know, oh, invest in oil. Oh, do all this stuff like that, right? Fuck the future. Fuck the new generations coming. But now people are more conscientious, and then like so people in China, they don't give a fuck about pollution. Like they'll go into industry, they'll manufacture toxic shit, sell it at a low cost or something, or higher margin. So do you think it's ethical? People are being a little bit more ethical now.
Maybe.
I think people are being. I feel like men are being more like accepting of like, okay, like this is what women wanted all along, right? Like equality, like equity. So like we're just letting them be what they want. It's our equals. Like they want to be seen as our equals. So like I feel like maybe men are obliging that in some way and just saying like, and not letting that get in the way of their manlyhood, like by saying, okay, accept it. Like we're equals here. And like it doesn't make him any less of a man, or I don't think it makes him lazy. I think it makes like a good man, a secure man, able to let his wife or his partner, his female partner, lead in that way.
Yeah.
I feel like there's just like a negative connotation or stigma behind letting your woman like do things, or like having one that is able to. Like you can have one that's able to, but you might not ever let her. But like that she still can, and like that doesn't make you feel less.
So with control, like say you're working a lot, you do have a lot of power, because you're the main provider or something like that, and you probably have control. Everybody wants control, whether they like it or not, or they want to admit it or not. They want control over another person, their partner, or in control in the relationship. But what happens when you work so much and your other partner, there's options out there, or they're not getting enough attention or time? How many times does that happen back in the day, and probably now, where they could, get affection or get attention from somebody else easily through social media or whatever else, and then sleep around or do something behind your back. Like that happens all the time throughout history. It could happen way easier now, wouldn't you think? So
yeah, I
think people are aware of that, or they kind of think of that too.
I don't know if they think about it, but it definitely is happening.
Yeah.
Like I definitely think it's happening.
I don't think it's yeah.
Yeah, it's not on the forefront of people's minds. You know what I mean? But it definitely is happening. It's probably happening at a rate that it's never happened before in human history because of social media, the ability to access somebody instantly through messaging, right, and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean that's definitely going to be something that should be discussed. But I think that's where communication comes into a relationship too. You know what I mean? Like if you're not getting fulfilled in one area of your relationship, you should be able to communicate that with your partner. And I think that's a part of masculinity too, is being able to have discussion with your partner, right? Where a lot of people, because they want to protect their emotions, sometimes won't say anything because they don't want to get to an emotional level of stress or anger, anxiety of, oh, what if my partner tells me the opposite of what I want to hear, or what if it's worse than I think, you know what I mean?
Right. But
you have to operate in a realm of rationality where like, okay, if I don't say anything, it's not going to get fixed, Yeah. And so it's important for, I say because I'm a man, especially for men to voice their opinions, and not in the negative sense, but demands, right? Like you hear the word demand, and immediately people think that it's like a negative thing. But your demands are your life goals, your life intentions, right? You are demanding something. You're like, okay, this is my guidelines. Like these are the things I need, and this is what I have to have.
Right.
What can you do out of these things here? You know what I mean? Because you could compromise too. Mm-hmm. You don't have to check all the boxes. Your partner doesn't have to check every single box, right? But if they can compromise with you on certain boxes, you can have a workable relationship, and that'll keep out a lot of these external things, I think, on the man side. But what about the female side?
Well, I think just going back to what we're talking about is that division. I feel like maybe we talk about maybe the majority of men. And I know that's usually majority rules, right? But I feel like we speak about the majority of men as not being this way, and not having these qualities. So it's not like we're saying every single man is like this. It's we're seeing more often than not, this is how they operate, right? And I feel like that majority also probably won't have that opportunity. It probably won't be until the next couple generations where the men have the emotional fortitude to take on a thought process you just in a perfect world, what he's saying, what you're saying makes all the sense. Everybody's you just communicate. What's the big deal? But we literally don't know how or what that means. You know what I mean? We don't know how to how we're having a conversation. You listen, you process, you think about how you're gonna respond. We just respond to respond. We don't really think thoughtfully when we speak. So a lot of, I think, men, they don't naturally intuitively have that capability. Yeah. Women, we're a little bit more, that's more innate in us, is conversation and communication. But I don't think that is something that we worked on our little boys with, is being able to vocalize what they're wanting. Yeah. So I feel that's what causes the separation, and we've made it okay. Oh, he's just a man, girl. He's stupid. Why is he gotta be dumb?
Just right. Just
what do you mean? Because he's a man, he gets to be dumb? Aren't they supposed to be
problem solvers?
Better than us in some way? We're relying on them to provide for us. Yeah. And he can't even tell me what he wants for dinner or what not to put on it. He's gonna storm out of the room oh my god,
So
that could be where some of this like online masculine forums are helpful in some ways, right? Because it depends on where you're getting your information from. But in some ways, some of this stuff can be helpful.
Can I interject and say, like, the stuff you've sent me and what I've looked at myself, where there's, like, visuals of these people who are following these people.
Right.
Like the Andrew Tates and the dead guy.
Yeah. Kevin Samuels,
they're
the dead guy.
so ugly. Like, I'm sorry, that's probably judgy. They're not cute. But, I would never.
But they're raking in a lot of millions a month and stuff, and that compensates, wouldn't you say?
Well, I get, like, are they paying to be on these platforms? These ugly men.
People are paying. Actually, so he has a genius idea. So he has like no page. Like everybody promotes his own clips, his own stuff in different places. Right. But he has a monthly subscription.
Andrew Tate.
Yeah. So basically, 100,000 people a month pay him $40 to $50.
And those are the 100,000 motherfuckers who was upset because they ain't got a woman and they're the ones talking shit.
Right.
Like, I'm just saying, like,
that's true.
Because us women too, like, we don't want the ugly guy either.
Right.
And like, these are the people who we would never talk to in a club. And now now they're just mad that they have they're happy that they have a platform now to talk shit.
Yeah.
And say all the stuff that they wanted to say to the girl in high school who would not give him the time of day, and he's been like looking at her shrine for the last 15 years. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
because Andrew Tate could be Andrew Tate, but everybody following in his footsteps don't have the money
to be Andrew Tate. Yeah. Like, those are his, like, minions. Yeah. Like, and then he should be ashamed that these are the men that
are following him.
That are following him.
Right.
Like, he's just got a trail of ugly ass men behind him. Like, how is he supposed to pull bitches like that?
Well, he's supposed to teach them how to make money so that they can become like him.
Yeah.
So
which is the ultimate con, right? That's the ultimate con.
Like, face off, like, change your whole face.
Like, the ultimate con is, okay, I have this, I can teach you to get this if you just pay me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this is the bullshit.
And he's not even that cute. Like, what the fuck? Like, he's not even that cute. And, like, his
but
accent,
he has a Bugatti.
He's got a Bugatti. Like,
what color is your Bugatti?
We were just watching a clip before we turned this shit on. And I was like, why is he talking like that? Like, is that what he really sounds like?
It's so crazy because even Joe Rogan.
Terrible.
No, it wasn't Joe Rogan. I think it was. They were talking about somebody was talking about Andrew Tate, and they were like, "What the fuck is up with his accent? Like he goes from a British accent to American accent, like interchangeably."
It's not like he's bilingual. Like, it's not like
he says it's because he grew up in
America.
Well, he was born in America, raised in America. Then he moved to England because his mom's English when his parents separated. And so he picked up like a affected British accent for living in Great Britain
or
for so long.
Or
he's a sociopath.
That's what I was going to say. No, he didn't. No, none of that happened.
Which
he's
could
just
be.
trying. Yeah, he's trying. He figures out who that could work on.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, he's got an accent. Like, what the fuck? And then like in the morning, he's like, "What up, baby? This is pancakes." Like,
Who are you?
Yeah, who are
anyway,
you really?
I'm just gonna with Andrew Tate.
But there's other guys out there too that I think that help men. Like, well, honestly, one of the best books I ever read that kind of helped me get out of a rut.
You be reading.
Yeah, I do read a lot.
Crazy.
One of the best ones I've read though that got me out of like a rut of, I guess, self-detrimental habits and things like that that were not helping me to become the person I could be. It's called No More Mr. Nice Guy. It's by a doctor, a PhD, who wrote this book. I think what's his name? Robert something. Can't remember now. But No More Mr. Nice Guy. But he just describes on how society after World War II became more more female dominated, not in a bad sense, but in the sense that the men came home broken and a lot of men didn't return home. They died in war. So a lot of women were left to raise men, and we came out not knowing how to fully express ourselves as men because we always kind of had the female in mind type thing, where before that time it was like men knew their roles, women knew that the men had to do certain things, right? And the man was the provider. Then after World War II, there was this broken home thing, and women had to find a way to try to teach men, but they ended up instilling in men a lot of feminine qualities. And so men just have to kind of realign themselves and understand that it's okay for you to have your demands. It's okay for you to have your lines in the sand, right? Like, your woman's not your mom. You don't have to accept her as she is. You know what I mean? We're like, mom, you can't do anything that's your mom, right? You got to accept your mom, love your mom for who she is. But your woman, if she has bad, like, if she's doing something that hurts you or she's doing something that doesn't make you feel good, you have to address it. You don't just let her be type thing, right? And this isn't about like a controlling thing either.
Yeah.
But like, even vice versa, like if I come into a relationship and I don't know, I'm just reaching for straws here, if I don't open the door for you when we go out, or I don't hold your hand enough when we go out and stuff, a woman's gonna easily tell her man, why, you know, even if you guys are just pillow talking, like, why don't you hold my hand more? Women do that stuff. They're good at that. They're good at communicating what they need, right? Why don't you hold my hand more? Why don't you do this for me more? Like, why don't you do that more?
Or they just
but guys will internalize it, and guys won't say anything. They'll just kind of like, all right, I gotta suck it up because I'm a boy. I gotta suck it up because I'm a man. I gotta suck it up, But it should be commonplace for a guy to address what's bothering him. It should be commonplace for a guy to, like I said, draw those lines in the sand. Like, okay, I don't like when this happens. Or I don't like when we're not doing this. I don't like when, this or that. Like, guys don't really address that stuff.
So I think it goes back to like what you said, like they're instilling feminine qualities.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's like, I feel like now we're breaking down more of like, there is masculine, there is feminine,
mm-hmm.
but one doesn't have to be assigned to like one gender or one. Like, right. I feel like now we're becoming more comfortable with saying like we live in a feminine and a masculine energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you want to be balanced, it's like your page balance, ladies, keep that shit on point. But like, it's like a balance that needs to happen in order for you to be like a more complete person. And like, that's what I'm saying is like, are we evolving more as like human beings? And like now, because like we don't know what that looks like, evolution, communication, and like comprehension, like we think it's like some big war, like, right. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of like a restructuring.
That could be the case, or could we be devolving because we might not know. Have you ever seen like the video memes where the guy's like, a guy can't tell a woman his feelings because it's gonna she's gonna be mad at what he told her. So if in effect, what you tell your partner, you have to keep it to yourself because ultimately it's about them. Does that make sense? So like you can't tell a female that you're in a relationship what you're feeling because they're gonna get upset about that and how they'll put it on themselves, like, oh, what did I do? You're attacking them or something like that. And really, you're just expressing feelings.
Yeah.
Right. But
it's like, I didn't say it like you didn't necessarily. Yeah. It's just like how I'm feeling.
And that's the thing, too, is I don't think men should express their feelings. Mm-hmm. They should express their needs, right? They should express their needs in the relationship, their wants in the relationship. But their feelings change. Feelings are going to go here and there the next day.
But don't your feelings in the moment matter? Like, you're feeling that way for a reason, right? Like, in the moment, like, you're feeling that way for a reason. Like, if you know it's fleeting and, like, you're just, like, maybe, like, you don't feel like that often, like, maybe you let it go. But, like, is it beneficial to not talk about your feelings?
If a thing's happening that makes you feel a certain way over and over, you're going to change the thing, right?
Or maybe, so like, your partner's doing the thing and you have to express it to them.
Yeah, but it's not a feeling. That's a thing. Right? What I mean about like a guy shouldn't...
Maybe you feel something.
Yeah, but a guy shouldn't have to express his feelings. He just shouldn't, because feelings change, right? So you shouldn't be like, oh, I feel sad because you're doing this. Like, you should just... If it happens continuously and it goes against your code, because guys should have a code, right? Then you just address it like, hey, look, I don't like when this happens, or I don't like that you don't do this, or I don't like that we don't do whatever it is, So we have to change it.
Yeah, because with women, they'll, like... Say if they like to express to their friends and stuff like that, right? And they don't necessarily want to solve the problem, they just want to vent. Like, would you say that?
Right.
Like, so, yeah, with a guy, if he hears like a woman saying their problems, a guy's thinking, how could I help? How could I solve this?
Yeah.
Right? When really the girl might just be like in that moment, just trying to, get through it.
It's like, yo, my boss is just a bitch, dude. Like, just chill. Like, I have to tell you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need you to fix it all the time. And that's the thing, too. Is like where I feel like women are just like becoming like more like aware of themselves and like, I can handle things myself. Like, yo, like, you don't need to come in and save me. Like, it's not like the damsel in distress type of situation. Right. And, like, we're getting, like, somewhat, like, defensive because, like, we're just like, so what? Like, you don't believe in me, you don't think I can take care of me, like, you think I'm weak, like, and then we start looking at our partner like that, like, how do you see me, like, don't you love me because I'm strong and, like, I can do X, Y, and Z, like, or am I just, like, a pretty face, like, you know what I mean? So it's, like, almost, like, a balance of, like, men being able to accept women for the innate problem solvers that they are, because, like, how you said, like, one of y'all said, but, like, men are there to protect, provide, and, like, if you didn't go out and get the elk, then you got killed or whatever. Men need to be okay with, like, knowing that if need be, his woman could go out and get the elk. Like, right? Because, like, you guys need that type of security, too. Like, you guys just have been taught not to, like, outwardly
the thing
say
is,
so.
Society has evolved where we don't have to get the elk anymore.
Yeah, so
that's what guys have to give up.
Our mind still thinks the elk.
Yeah. And guys need to get rid of that, right? Because we don't have to get the elk anymore. We're not fucking living in a village anymore. We have to sharpen rocks to go out and hunt just so the rest of us can eat.
Might be getting back there.
With inflation and shit. But we're at a point in society now where it's an equal playing field, which it really is, because women can make money just as much as a man can make money, if not more, right? And so men have to get over that shit. They have to get over their ego about, like, I'm supposed to be the one bringing in all the, all the money. I'm supposed to be bringing the bacon. I'm supposed to be... No. That was then. This is now. Now it's a partnership.
Now it is an actual partnership. It's
a partnership. It can be 50-50. The woman can bring equal amount that the man brings in, and coexist and everything like that. You know what I mean?
What I'm saying is the people who want to go out and get it and have that control, because they want the power. They want the power to get a young, beautiful, whatever. Of course. Right? So it's them. The drive is the desire to have these things that are materialistic.
Right.
So it's not necessarily, I want to have a partner. I want to be good for my partner.
Yeah.
Like, no, I want to have multiple women. I want to date. I want to travel. I want to do this
Bugatti.
Stuff. Or women.
That's their symbol for success.
Yeah. Right. Or a woman, just like, I want to be independent. I don't want to be told what to do. I want to travel. I want to be with my friends. I want to, do this and that.
Okay. Well, that, like, makes me think of this. Like, is it just like a mismatch, like, of partners, right? So, like, a man who, like, wants somebody who just is, like, gonna be arm candy, who is okay with not working, who's okay with being taken care of and kept. Okay, that works, because, like, you're expecting something, I'm gonna give you that. But then, like, we get men who are like, I want my woman to stay home, I want her to watch the kids, I want her to take care of the house, take care of me, I got the money. But then he has a woman who's like, motherfucker, no. Like, I'm about to go work. We about to figure out what we're going to do with these kids.
I think it is a mismatch.
And, like, what I'm saying, like, so I feel like that's kind of where the separation comes from, because, like, we're not finding partners with the same values that we have.
Right.
So, and then we're, like, wanting, like, there's always, like, this power struggle of, like, you need to come back. Like, well, no, like, you need to come up. Like, but you never really meet in the middle, because you're with the wrong partner.
Right.
So, like, we talked about last episode, a couple episodes ago, like, how your wife works, and, you do what you do, and, like, there's that dynamic, and it's like, you guys are both fine with that.
Right.
Like, you guys met each other there, you guys have the same thought process on that. Like, she doesn't necessarily maybe have the feeling that a man needs to go out and bring home the bacon, because fine, we ain't killing it up, but we still bring home bacon, whether it's turkey or, like, whatever. There's bacon to be had.
Beyond bacon.
Beyond bacon. Like, so your wife is okay with that, and then you as a man, you're like, I'm okay with that too. I'm still man of this house. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you guys work that way.
Right.
Most couples are on this other, like, these expectations that we've set for each other.
Or egos, like you said before.
Yeah. And, like, we think, and we don't even communicate that to our partner.
Yeah.
We, like, before we become partners, right? Before we make it Instagram official, like, we don't even have that conversation of, like, well, how do you feel about, like, doing this? And, like, are we on the same page? Like, is it gonna cause, like, conflict if I'm doing this and you're doing that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, no, like, I'm fine with that. Like, like, you have to have that conversation. I don't think we are. Yeah. Like, we're getting with people for the wrong reasons. Like, they look good, they have the money, they're stable. Like, I hear girls, like, oh my God, they have a good job, they do this, like they got insurance, girl. Like insurance? Like that's the bar now? Is like insurance, like what kind of, like life, car, auto, home? Like what kind of insurance? Is he on his mom's insurance? Like, you know what I mean? Like why is insurance the bar?
Right.
Like, you know? And so I feel like women now, like we just, our bar is a little bit more up there.
When I think the bar should be your heart, like somebody you connect with, like, you know, who they are as a person, right? But how much...
you said the bar should be your heart. Can we just let that breathe for a second?
But how much communication is too much communication? Like, should you know everything about your partner? Like, your body counts and stuff like that?
Oh, fuck no.
Like, or your bank accounts and stuff like that? Like, even before the relationship or, you know?
Because, like, if we get into a relationship, like, and we're gonna, like, move in together or something, person, I'm not going in there blind, like, and then all of a sudden, like, it's just my name on the dotted line because you can't do it because you done fucked off some shit, like, and I didn't even know about it. Yeah. Like, no, like, yes, that definitely needs to be a conversation. But body counts and shit, like, me and my best friend were just in the grocery store today, and I was, like, talking about something, and we're just like, do they, like, need to know everything? Like, because I'm pretty, like, upfront, like, I'll tell somebody everything. Like, there's very little lies that can be told because I'm like, bitch, I'll tell you myself. Like, you know what I mean? Right. Yeah. And so, but anyway, I'm just like, I don't know if everything's necessary anymore. No. Like, everything's not necessary. No. Like, especially, like, in a new situation, it gets held against you in the court of law. Like, I'm just like, if you ain't ever gonna find out, like, there's no reason for me to tell you that because it's so irrelevant to our situation now.
It's so true. Like, okay, it shouldn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? Body counts both sides, unless
it's still affecting your
present and future, right?
Right.
Okay, I've only
What do you mean?
Like if you have a track record of, you know, being promiscuous and sleeping with a ton of people or cheating a lot, right? Not to say you can't be in a committed relationship. If you believe in the relationship enough, you'll be loyal. Just like how religion, you know, people believe in the religion enough to walk the straight path. But yeah, if you don't respect your partner or yourself that much, then, you know, you're not going to really last that long. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Go ahead.
So exactly. And it affects your future too.
Beard here.
Oh. Thank you.
Sorry. I don't know how long it's been there.
So you can also have it affect your future where if you're with this girl or you're with your partner, because, you know, I'm speaking as a man. I'm speaking as a straight man who likes females. But
straight cisgendered male. Exactly. That's how you have to revenge.
But it can affect your future because your whole, I don't know, and it shouldn't, but your perception of your partner changes once you know certain things about them, right? So you don't have to know everything. I don't care your body count. You're with me now. We're moving forward, type thing, right?
That's
I've only well.
No, that touches home
there can
because,
be things that can affect it.
No, I'm just saying because, like, no, that's so true. Mm-hmm. Like, my ex, right? Like, we had broken up. We've been broken up for, like, almost a couple of years now at this point. And, like, you know, we, like, talk back and forth. Like, you know, we, like, entertain the idea of, like, trying again, like, whatever. We'd see each other knowing that, like, the other one of us, like, we'd been somewhere else. Like, you know what I mean? With other people. But in her head, she could not fathom the fact that I had maybe even, like, been with a man, right? So, like, she's just like, I can't, like, you're just, like, you're gross. Like, I can't even think about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're tainted. Like, a man's touched you. Like, now I don't even look at you the same. Because I was, like, I always want her, like, whoever I'm with to accept me for exactly who I am. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't need to, like, hide any parts of me from you. And I felt like I should be able to do that. She knows this bit of information, and she's just like, she used it against you, like, now, right? It's like, why was I even honest to you? Like, you know what I mean? But I'm glad I was, because, like, I know how she really is now.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? But she's like, ew, gross. Like, you're, like, disgusting. Like,
which is okay. Just a side note, right? Because you had a dick.
A dick.
This is relevant, but it's also a side note. Because, like...
It's not relevant, guys.
It's not at all. But, like, I wouldn't give a fuck if my woman's been with girls. I wouldn't care.
Well, yeah.
I'd be like, oh, okay, you had like 30 girls.
But honestly,
so it's okay. You've had you say you had 15 bodies, right?
Right.
10 of those were girls, 5 of those were guys. I'm like, oh shit, you're pretty clean.
No,
you're pretty fucking clean.
Obviously,
I get that all the time. Like, what?
We know that dicks can be gross.
Dicks are gross.
Right, dicks are gross.
Yes, because and motherfuckers
you get the wrong dick, your pH is fucked up for days.
Guys don't think about this shit, which we should be more conscious, man. We should be way more fucking conscious.
Yeah, you guys are out here throwing off
dicks,
pH levels and shit.
Because
dirty dick.
The fucking skin and the muscular tissue that's in a dick is an absorbent thing. Okay.
Sponge.
So you could soak some shit up from your partner.
Y'all get the vaccine?
I'm gonna tell my doctor to give me that shit because not that I don't know. I don't think I'm at risk to get it.
Okay, sorry.
Anyways, but yeah, our shit we can absorb shit, not know, because men don't have a lot of symptoms of STDs, right? Like even if a guy catches,
it's gross.
Yeah,
sure
yeah,
it's gross.
but a lot of guys who catch STDs, they don't have no symptoms. They can have no symptoms and not know they have it, but the girl will have symptoms.
Yeah.
And because like it's a whole different thing down there.
Orifice.
Yeah, it's a whole different orifice down there. And then, you know what I mean? Like you're just going from one bitch to the next, one woman to the next. You're going from one woman to the next, and you don't know what you're picking up. And so like you got to be conscious of that shit. You know what I mean? You got to know, like you got to communicate. You got to like be fucking aware enough to go find some goddamn condoms that you like and use
I feel
them.
like y'all need to educate yourselves like better about vagina.
That's true. That's very true.
Did you hear Nick Cannon on whatever he was on, and he was like 80% of women are dirty and like have smelly pussy. Like I'm like, who? Oh. Yeah, he said that, and someone's like, has he been with 80% of women? And he's like, well, it's Nick Cannon. Like,
80% of the women he's been with, which are like,
exactly, because he spread their dick around. Like that's what I'm saying.
All the women are pretty easy, or you know, like they have been around, but they're you know.
Girl, I said girl. This is,
I'll be.
This is how you talking to like my homies, like when girls on the phone, like girl, like no. But sorry, pause. But no, like that's like the thing, right? Like these women probably have very low body counts, but like because he's Nick Cannon.
He's throwing their pH off.
He literally is just all over across the globe. But like these are women who, in my mind, are probably high value women, and they probably have low body counts. But because they're with like they have the opportunity to have a baby with Nick Cannon, like he's like the Kevin Hart of like the minor leagues, right? Like you know what I mean? Like Kevin Hart's here, Nick Cannon's like somewhere over here,
right?
But like they're going to like take that risk and like sleep with Nick Cannon. Raw, like, you know what I mean? I'm trying to get one of the Nick Cannon babies. Like, it's like something on the shelf on the internet that you're trying to clear out. Nick Cannon baby.
Nick Cannon baby.
And so, like, they're letting down their guards because of who he is. So, but, like, because of who he is, he's thinking that she's, like, not easy, but, like, she was able to be obtained because of who he is. Like, a man like Nick Cannon's probably going to be frustrated. Like, he's never going to have another Mariah. And he says it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's probably, like, so mad at himself because he's never going to do that again.
Don't you think that not all of them might not be, I wouldn't say, what the heck is it called? High value? High value. Like, don't you think they would have slept around? Like, even successful women, they have a high sex drive because... You know,
but they can't find dick because they're too busy in the making money.
Or
so they have to pay for it.
They select, and they select dick, right? They're selecting what dick they're getting.
But not to say that they don't get it. Or,
of course. They can probably, and if a high value female can get any dick she wants.
Or from higher valued men, I guess, like people who have access to multiple women, so they're not clean.
Right.
So it's like just because they've had less dick, the dick that they did have has been around, right? So,
but because I'm keeping us on subject, like the separation from that, with men and women becomes you're a woman. I have this expectation that you should have a lower body count than me because like I can't even my little man ego, no offense y'all, but just can't even handle that you've had maybe more experience than me or that I have to have, like, said that I've not shared you, right? Mm-hmm. But, like, someone else has, like, had you in that way.
Right.
So, like, I just feel like the separation comes from, like, these expectations that men put on women and, like, who are you guys to say like what's a good body count for us?
So
that's so true.
Do you think men need to be more confident with a woman's body count? Like they're not confident, so that they can't have a woman with a high body count because they're not confident enough. I mean, in themselves.
Yeah, I think
that.
Yeah.
It maybe confidence, but also it just should be more like acceptable, right? It should be more acceptance because, bro, like, especially if you're meeting a woman for the first time, okay, and you guys haven't met before. Her past doesn't affect you. Her past shouldn't affect how you feel about her. That's a past, right? That's before you guys even met. It's before you guys even sat down and had a date conversation.
But if it throws off your health, it could affect.
Oh, well, of course, but you shouldn't have to know her body count.
Right.
But you should at least be man enough to just, like, tell her if you're sexually experienced, right? Mm. And you don't have to tell her your body count, but just be like, hey, look, I'm a man who cares about, like,
women
my health.
Don't usually care, though.
Yeah, but they should because of STDs and shit.
Well, yeah, that.
Because a guy could be sexually active for 15 years, never had an STD.
We're just groomed to like expect that you guys are gonna be
right. Yeah. You know what's crazy?
Unfortunately.
Look, okay, let's get vulnerable for a minute. Okay, let's get a little bit vulnerable for a minute. And this is a message for all you fucking men out there that are like, oh, I don't need to get tested or whatever. Okay, when I was single, okay. When I was fucking straight single, bro, I was out, sleeping with women and stuff like that. Pretty conscious about who I was strapping up with and stuff. I had I think at that time, one girl in my rotation that I was just not strapping up with, okay? She was good enough to go, she goes out and she would get like checkups and shit like that, go to her gynecologist and stuff. She tested for something. And she's like, hey, you're the only guy I'm sleeping with. I just tested positive for this. The doctor says it's no big deal, but you should go get tested. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't have no symptoms. Like, you know what I mean? I'm thinking like, anytime I was ever told about having something, guys would be like, oh, like, you're going to have this, you're going to have like the drip, you're going to have this, you're going to have that and that, right? I was like, I never had that shit. Then you go and you sit down with the doctor and he's like, okay, how many times have you been tested? I'm like, I've never been tested. And he's like, you're 20-something years old and you've never been tested? I was like, no, I've never been tested because I always thought I was cautious. And he told me, he's like, okay, you could think you're being cautious, but you don't know who your partners are sleeping with. You don't know who your partners have slept with, right? There's a whole line of this and that can happen.
Contact tracing that has to happen at the health department.
Yeah.
Trying to get a hold of everybody who's contracted.
So then after that point, and after I went through the treatments and shit like that, literally a pill, like 2 pills, and that was it. And then after that, I'm like completely conscious. It's weird. If I get sexual with a girl after that point, I'd be in the moment where I'm about to fucking put it in, and I'm like, when's the last time you've gotten tested? Women would either be like, women would either be like, why are you asking like that? Do you think I'm a hoe? Or they'd be like, oh, it was this time, and I haven't been with nobody since then, or I've been with one person since then, right?
The one saying, do you think I'm a hoe is a hoe.
Exactly, yeah.
You need to get out of bed.
Yeah, and it's made me smarter lover, maybe a smarter person, right? More conscious of where I'm fucking sticking my shit. But the fucking moral of the story is a lot of these guys don't know. A lot of these guys are just going out there freely doing shit. They aren't fucking caring, right? They don't want to wear condoms, and they think, oh, I'm clean. You don't know if you're clean, bro.
Did you say they aren't carrying?
They're not carrying enough to... They're not carrying
You
enough.
have to care.
Oh, you said carrying.
They are carrying. They are carrying. But they don't take enough care to know about their bodies and shit like that, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, you got to, bro. Like, as a man, you got to do that. You got to just go out and do it. Like, I know it's scary.
Now we have to pay child support.
You know what? You know the only tests I would get? The only tests I would get, because they're all separate, AIDS. Right? It was the AIDS test. I would get an AIDS test, like, maybe once every 3 years or something when I was single, like, because I was like, okay, I just got to make sure, right? But all the other shit is going to be equally as effective of your life and stuff like that, your partner and shit like that. So go get tested, bro.
Well, that's the only way to kind of test is blood, though, because I went in before to Planned Parenthood, and he just looked at me and was just like, no, you're good.
What the fuck? They got to test your shit.
You have to ask specifically for an AIDS test. Yeah, they don't just do it.
It's fucked up.
Like it's a whole different panel.
They should test you for everything when they take your blood.
No,
but they don't.
There's some that are, like they're all different, like in how like they draw them. Like we went on a field trip, if you will, like for an organization I worked for, And like they tell you like you have to, because it was like public health, like community health. So like we had to know how to like talk to our clients about, you know, social, STIs, right? You can't say STIs. That's derogatory.
Oh, now. STIs.
STIs, yes, infections, because most of them can be taken care of, right? So anyway, so like, and that's the thing, like you don't know either. Like you have to specifically ask for stuff, because like if you like, I just need an STD check. Like they're gonna do like one thing, they're gonna draw blood, it's gonna test for 2 things, and they're like, I'm great, but like they didn't do all this other stuff, like you know. So like you just have to be very specific on like what you want and like what you're looking for. Like I want a full panel, like I want a blood, urine, swab for us. They swab y'all dicks too, right?
I heard that they did, but they never did. Like every time you know what? That was the scary thing. Yeah.
Like
right into the urethra or whatever, right? But I've heard that. That's why
the discharge.
I've heard that, and that's why I was always kind of like, oh shit, that's gonna hurt.
If you guys see Robin right now sitting, he's sitting like this.
Well, I've seen.
They never did that though. They always did blood. They just did blood for everything,
but
right?
In brothels,
which I never got any of the big ones.
Yeah.
In brothels, that's what they do. They'll squeeze it and like see if something comes out, and then they'll check.
That's weird.
But yeah. But
in brothels?
In brothels, I see like Vice or something like they
guys go to brothels.
Call me ignorant, but do we have brothels here in America?
Yeah, Nevada,
Vegas.
So Nevada,
Nevada. Yeah.
Nevada is the only state. I think there's one more state in the east, but Nevada is the only state where there's legal brothels. You can, that's where Lamar Odom almost died.
Jesus.
Lamar Odom was at a whorehouse.
On the cocaine? Yeah. That's a lot of cocaine. Like to overdose on cocaine?
Yeah. But you can go to a whorehouse and sleep with very beautiful women.
I don't think they're that
for a reasonable price.
Are they? I don't know. When I do see documentaries on them and stuff like that, I don't know. Not to say the women aren't beautiful, but they seem like they seem a little more dominant, like masculine type of thing. I don't know.
They're big.
Maybe
they just seem more dominant, if that makes any sense.
So okay,
a lot of men like that nowadays.
How much do you think a legal brothel charges for sex? How much do you think?
Like an hour's worth?
I think it is an hour.
I think it's hourly.
Yeah.
Hourly sex?
Yeah.
Okay, what was the question? How much do I think
a legal brothel in Nevada charges
for hourly sex?
For hourly sex for one of their workers.
1,000?
I think they do.
No.
No?
No. Okay, you can go to the best one, which I haven't been there. But I know. You can go to like the top tier ones.
Yeah.
For probably their like top girl, the top requested girl, 120.
No.
Yeah. No 120 plus tips.
No.
But not just that. You have to rent the room. Okay.
What is it when they line the girls up and say
that's at the brothels. But you got to rent the room.
No.
So yes, maybe it comes up to maybe $500. But you rent the room, okay? The room in the brothel.
That's how they get you though.
Worth. The upcharges is like, it's might be this price, but it's the whole.
It's
the
not
total.
thousands.
It's the total.
Yeah, what's the total?
You think
Once you include everything.
The sex itself. The sex itself.
Everything's an add-on. Like put it in 50.
You got
double pump 65.
Exactly.
You gotta buy the room. You gotta buy she can request things, right? You should request lubes, condoms, whatever. You gotta buy those too. So it's a package or whatever. So maybe $500.
We're gonna
like I want number 2.
Yeah, we could look right now. But
I'm saying, I think 600
it's not 1,000. You're thinking about escorts.
We'll have this number for you guys next episode.
There's some escorts that can charge like upwards and stuff like. But how much do you think strippers charge?
Well, what do you mean?
For sex.
Strippers charge?
Strippers. Because strippers will fuck you too.
They're not technically
if you go to Vegas,
doing that in the club.
If you go to Vegas, you can bring them to your hotel.
If you're they'll do it if
it's
like a celebrity type dude or a guy with money.
Regular dudes.
Yeah, no, not in the club.
They do regular dudes. No. Not in the club, but you can take them out of the club to your hotel room. You know this. You've never done it, but you know this.
I don't know. I mean, I know a few of them.
How much do you think?
Escort.
Yeah, exactly. How much do you
think
an escort? A stripper would escort for?
For a stripper or an escort? Because that's 2 different services.
They're actually it's different. Okay, it's the same person.
Oh, I should know this. I know escorts. Not close to y'all.
She's calculating inflation.
I know. Carry the 5. I don't know. Probably 500.
I once had.
Hold on. Pause before he even says that.
Get in trouble. I'm just kidding.
This is me
I didn't do it though.
Knowing that Okay, now let's not really get
I had
ourselves in
a stripper offer. Okay? We're out in a group. She was giving me a lap dance, offered. She says, if you give me $300, I'll go back to your room and I'll fuck at least 3 of you and your boys. $300.
I feel like she would take the money. No, I think she'd take the money and wouldn't show up. That's what I think.
$300.
She'd take the money and wouldn't
Okay, how
show
about
up.
this? Girls at the local strip club. Okay?
Oh, hell.
Have
Like, I'll
told
give
me-
you head right here.
Have told me that they've had threesomes with clients.
Right.
$200. That's it. $200
Oh my
fucking
God.
dollars flat.
Like, travel to you and do that.
You have a room, apartment, house, whatever.
If I was
$200
flinging
flat.
ass out here like that, like, my price, like, it would be outrageous. Like,
$200 flat.
and I can make you laugh at the same
I feel
time.
like the
Laughing is extra.
Yeah, I feel like I think the going rate could be, I think that could be like for someone on the streets or something like that.
On the street?
On the streets.
Well,
I don't know,
that book,
but-
the book I read by Mickey Royal, Pimp Life, Pimp Game. You know how much he had his women charge just for sex?
Well, that was back in the day.
No, well, I mean, yeah, early 2000s even.
Okay.
$50 for sex.
For intercourse?
Yes, $20 for.
Are you
for
sure?
fellatio.
This is back in the day.
What?
It's not that expensive.
No,
guys.
but that's we gotta think.
We're talking about labor
We're
now.
thinking about the quality though.
This goes to a point, though. Right.
Yeah.
This goes to my point, though. Okay, this goes to a point where women want, like, a lot of women want to date a high value man, right? Okay, a guy that's making a bunch of money, has a Bugatti.
A Bugatti.
Right?
Yeah.
He can literally pay these strippers, escorts, go to a bunny ranch for a couple $100.
Yeah. And
You think he's gonna marry you and split half of his fucking millions with you if you divorce him because he cheated? You know what I mean?
Yeah, just like 50
He's
Cent. He said
50 Cent.
You have the escort or whatever.
Yeah.
Because you don't want the headache. They just do what they do.
They do what they do and they leave.
So there's no problems.
And 50 Cent's probably paying. I mean, he gets high end ones, I'm sure, but maybe a couple thousand.
Yeah.
But those couple thousand that he has for a couple hours to fuck and do all this shit, they're Instagram models.
Or people for free because they want.
Of course.
To be around them, or
not as much as
for the
2003, but
yeah. But
is it weird that I would not want 50 Cent because I know he would be able to do that? Like, that makes him unattractive to me.
I think that's smart.
Like, someone I talk to right now, I'm like, you're like great.
But
like, if Dwayne The Rock Johnson came in here, like, I don't even give a shit. But it's because, like, The Rock doesn't carry himself like that. He doesn't, like, put himself out, like,
just because
paying
he doesn't
for
carry
escort.
but he's
but he's not saying it.
Yeah, but he still probably does
But
it.
don't fucking say it. Like, just do it, but don't, like, make me look stupid, like, and be out here saying it, dumbass. Like, you know what I mean? Like, with 50 Cent, like, I'm like, ew, I don't want you. Like, you're just out here saying it.
But that's just, like, reputation-wise. That's not, like, health-wise. Health-wise, this might be the same thing, so you don't care about health.
Yeah.
Let's say women
so
don't
does that
care
go back
about
to the body
health-wise.
count thing? Because if 50 can have a bunch of escorts that he wants and that makes him unattractive, is it the body count that makes him unattractive?
It sounds like it's the reputation.
It's the reputation, it's the body count, it's the fact that he doesn't have enough scruples in his body to even be like, no, I can't be fucking all these bitches.
Yeah.
Like, my grandma would not be upset. Like, she would be so upset. Like, in Get Rich or Die Trying, the grandma.
The grandma.
So with women, it is it's status and resources for real. With women, I would say, because it's a reputation, it's the status thing, right?
Resources first, then status, because like we want to be taken care of, we want to be secure, we want to make sure that when we come home, the house is gonna be there.
Yeah.
The key gonna work.
So
the water gonna be on.
So do you think everybody in the world projects? Like, women, they want to, look good. They want to have a good job, a status, and stuff like that, because that's what they want in their partner. Like, people who say bad things about other people because they feel bad about themselves, or people, insecure, are insecure about themselves, to say something about somebody. Do you think everybody projects?
Kind of, yeah, I think so.
Cheaters even project. People who get mad at, I think you're cheating because they know
they're projecting.
Everybody projects.
Yeah, it's trube.
Because it's not even projection. It's like, it's knowledge. Like, it's like, it's awareness, right? Like, like, because, like, if you're doing something fucked up, that person, like, why can't they be doing something fucked up? Like, it's like the level of awareness, like, well, this bitch, like, thinks I'm the most loyal motherfucker. Like, she'll, like, kiss my feet right now.
She could say bitch, I can't.
Like, stop saying, he keeps saying bitches. And I'm like, nigga, what? Chill. But, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they know, they know, like, you know what I mean? Like, the freak was I saying, Rudy?
I'm sorry.
It makes sense because you can only speak about what you know, or you can only have these concepts of what you know. And if you know bad things or whatever's bad to you, you will project and think that other people have to be capable.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so you know, like, I'm capable of this.
Right.
What makes them not capable of that?
Right.
Like, they think I'm the most amazing thing in the world that's never gonna go anywhere. Like, I made them think all this. I scammed them to the T. Like, damn, like, everything's the same thing. Like, why are they exempt? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they make me feel like that. Like, they make me feel like I'm the only one. I make them feel like they're the only one. So how do I know if they're not out doing the same shit? Like, just maybe a little bit more sly. Like, that's the hard thing about people. Like, we want to see the good in people. Like, we want to, like, see the good in humanity. But, like, is there? Like, there is good in humanity. But, like, we can't just be like, oh, my God, they would never.
Right.
Yes, they would. They would ever. They would ever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we can't do that. Like, every time I start dating or talking to someone, I'm just like, man, they seem great. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can never see this person. Then I'm like, nah, just kidding. I can see it. Like, what excludes you? Like, what differentiates you from saying, like, I'm going to be a cheater? Or, like, this person's not a cheater to, like, this person might cheat. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are, like, clues, like, that lead you up to that? To, like, think of that. So, like, I think that's another way men or women are divided. Because, like, men say, like, they cheat, like, and it doesn't mean anything. Like, it's just sex, it's just pussy, like, it's whoever, like, I can just fuck whoever I want, I don't even care. And then they also think that we cheat because, like, we're so emotionally attached. It's more emotional. No. Like, it has nothing to do with that. Like, we're not getting something, like, we want to feel beautiful, we want to be held, we want to be touched, like, whatever, like, you know what I mean? So it's really not that deep. But I think that's, like, what's separating it. It's, like, saying, like, men do it for less. Like, women do it for more. So, like, men get so much more hurt when a woman cheats because, like, their perception of, like, a woman is, like, you're supposed to be loyal. You're supposed to be down for me no matter what the fuck I do. Like, you aren't supposed to be mad at me for X, Y, and Z. Huh? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? Like, I think that's unrealistic. Like, you know? Like, we don't have the same standards for each other either. Like, that's what's pulling men and women apart. So, and, like, causing this divide.
Do you feel like women should be put up on a pedestal or they shouldn't? Like, because, like you said, we're pretty much equal about, but...
In certain ways, right? Like, we bear life. We bear life, period. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, yes, we should be put on a pedestal, but as far as, like, morally, as people, as being equal as, like, the human race, no. Like, no. Because we have the same wants and desires. We've just been programmed in this amount of time to say, like, we don't get to express those. But I feel like as our parents die, as we die, like, the next 3 generations after us, like, they're going to value those things. Like, it's not going to be so foreign to them. So they're going to value a woman's worth. They're going to, so no. Like, I don't think women should be put on a pedestal other than, again, we give life, period.
Do you think that guys are, not to say devalued, but do you think guys probably are more disposable and less valued? Like, and let's be honest here. Like, women are beauty. Like, we could tell that women are beauty, right? Right. Guys, how we just said, dicks are gross, right? Like, yeah, a guy needs to bring value to himself, right?
I think a guy is only as valuable as what he can provide to the person, right?
And even if that's emotional, or you support,
right? Not but just, like, so even the Andrew Tate video we saw with what's her name, the beautiful girl, Taylor, something Taylor.
You said
Shania?
Cheyenne Taylor, something like that. Anyways. But we saw the video of them on a date.
They're not even married. Someone's going to click on this and, like, Andrew Tate. No, that doesn't get us hella followers. Say that. So that video we watched with Andrew Tate, and I think it's Cheyenne Taylor. But they were discussing kind of that same element, right? Where a man is only desirable for what he can provide. But a woman, if she's beautiful, is already born with innate desire. Like, if a woman's pretty, which I think is true. If a girl's good looking, she doesn't have to have a lot to attract a partner of high value. If she's pretty
a high value person will be attracted to her and want to fuck her, give her some stuff to fuck her, right? But a guy, if he looks good, but he doesn't have a lot to bring to the table, he's not going to be highly sought after. You know what I mean? Like, think about a guy...
Or less.
Think about a guy who lives in his mom's basement, doesn't have his own car, but he uses all the money he makes at Papa John's delivering pizza to do his eyebrows, to get clothes.
Yeah.
So he goes out and he's dressed really nice. Nice shoes, nice haircut. Eyebrows are good. He takes care of his face. You know what I mean? He looks good.
Yeah. This actually exists. This is why people go to the club and can get women
and
because
he
they
gets
have
women,
the perception.
But he's not going to keep that woman because he doesn't have anything to bring to her life.
Right.
She's going to eventually be like, you live in a fucking basement?
Or a storage unit?
Yeah, you live in a storage unit. But the woman...
My mom did live in a storage unit.
Yeah, but they saved a ton of money.
They converted them into apartments. It's crazy when she was doing... It was a great apartment. I swear to God.
I just saw something with the house.
I was like, don't shit on storage units.
I'm just saying.
It's housing.
But a woman could do the same thing, right? A woman could live in her parents' house and she goes up, dolled up, looking great. She takes care of herself, whatever, whatever men these days are into. But
it's because we going to school. We doing something. We got a baby to take care of.
What if not? What if the woman's not? What if she's just like a 22-year-old, looks really good, like,
Or they want to be with 50 Cent just for experience.
But she just
for the long term.
But she just goes out, and then a guy of high value is gonna look at her and be like, "Damn, she's hot. I want to get up inside that." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why are you so explicit sometimes?
That's just reality.
Me and my sister were like, why did Rudy say that? We're like, I don't know why he said that.
So he wants to get up inside that shit, and then he's like, "I'm gonna do what it takes," and then she can ask whatever from him. But if a guy, same thing, right? He takes care of himself, meets a woman who's high value, she has money. And he's like, I want to get this and that. You know what I mean? Like, before I fuck you, get me a new car. She's going to be like, get the fuck out of here. Take your fucking nice clothes. You live in your fucking mom's basement and get the fuck out of my face. But the guy, the high value guy is going to be like, oh, yeah, I will. Because I desperately want to fuck you. I'm going to give you a new car, whatever. You know what I mean? That's the difference.
Yeah, but tables turn, right? So it's like long game. The young, hot, beautiful girl or whatever can go through these experiences, but they keep doing that shit that won't last forever, right? Or if a guy, right, who's might be broke at the moment but working on himself can't get a woman, but eventually he'll build up to. So it's basically a long game. It's if people play the short game or the long game.
Yeah, for some people.
A lot of people get it while the going's good, but it's not always going to be going good.
Unless you're Bad Baby.
So, okay. Jesus Christ.
Who Bad Baby has not done a single thing with her life.
Have you seen her TikTok? What are you talking about?
But be pretty.
Her TikTok
and she made $50 million on OnlyFans.
Her TikTok is
just from being pretty.
She's not even that pretty. She's just like...
A lot of guys think she's pretty.
She's aggressive as
But if a guy went on Dr. Phil... If a guy went on Dr. Phil...
Dr. Phil ruined her life.
If a guy went on Dr. Phil and did the same shit she did, and he only looked good, but he didn't aspire to do better for himself and started an OnlyFans, he wouldn't make $50 million.
She took that as an opportunity. She ran with that shit.
That's an opportunity only a female could take.
No.
You think a guy can do the same thing that she did?
What are those two twin, the white guys that do the weird stuff?
Oh, the Island Boys?
Not the Island Boys. No.
Jake Paul, Logan Paul?
Yes, them.
But they had to put a lot of work in. Video
like,
after video, getting like dumb people to really... Like,
so yeah, they were kind of like the inception of this shit, right?
And they weren't showing dick on camera.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
That's true. But, Jesus Christ, you throw my whole, whatever, I had something, really intelligent and insightful to say. And then you just, said crazy shit. It's like...
Blew it all away.
We're not throwing dick on camera.
No, he says something more outrageous. Why is he... His views do not reflect mine.
So, there's a question. So, do you think, so, we'll go back to sex, and, but, okay, so sex... So everything is hand in hand, right? Or opposites in the same boat, I guess. So what can give you life can take away life, right? Okay. So do you think everything's like that? So how I said, tables turn. It might be good for a young woman now, might not be good later, but might be bad for a man now would be good later. Do you think that it's always the case?
Oh, I think I do. I think I understand what you're saying because
What's it saying?
So if a woman's out. So if a woman in her 20s is out being super promiscuous, super independent, and then she gets into her 40s and she hasn't found a man to settle down with because they knew her past and they're like,
is promiscuous negative though?
I mean, it can be. Depends on the person, right?
Well,
but here's the thing.
Yeah.
So the guys are going to look at her as used, right? At that age. So they're going to be like, oh, well, she's used up. She was the one that was dancing on the tables, taking her shirt off, fucking so-and-so in the bathroom, right? Having fun. So guys are going to perceive her and be like, she's used, right? But a guy could do the same thing, right? Be fucking a slut in his fucking 20s, go into his 40s. Yeah. Go into his 40s, and he's already, in his 40s, he's already achieved, whatever, like success, monetary success, right? Women are going to be like, he's experienced. Mm-hmm. They're not going to see he's used up. They're going to look at him like, wow, he's experienced. He's got a lot of experience.
Right.
I want to be with him.
Right.
And the thing is, too, which is kind of messed up, okay, is that a man in his 40s can marry down, and society doesn't look at it as a bad thing. Yeah. They're going to be like, oh, wow, he's marrying down. He's a fucking lucky guy.
I dated a man in his 40s. Bitches don't do it. They're crazy.
But a woman who marries down in their 40s, people are like, oh, she's a cougar. Oh, she's a predator. You know what I mean? This and that. I think it's equal. To me, it's equal.
A lioness.
It's a lion. Yeah. Like, marry down. Like, I think I told you this before.
Why?
I told you this before.
Why would we marry down?
Well, 10 younger or 10 older, depending on how old you are. Because if you're 18, don't fucking marry 10 younger.
Yeah, well, a woman to marry down, they're the ones that control. The young man's not going to have the control.
Right.
Women mostly want the resources and status, like we said. So go ahead.
Yeah, so, but if you marry within that 10-year up or down, right, it's almost better. Because you don't know people in their circle. So their body count's not going to really affect you. And they have more to learn or more experience to give you. 10 years up versus 10 years down.
And men need that because y'all are behind.
Yeah.
So, y'all need a teacher.
I'll tell you what.
That's one thing that's because I was saying this to my friend, my best friend, I was telling her, I'm like, if I wasn't genuinely attracted to women, mm-hmm. I wouldn't be. You know what I mean? Because it's just a lot of red tape and it's just messy and hard, right? Yeah. I would just date men. Right. It's just easier that way. But we were saying that okay, but older people, they know what they want. They've been through shit. They're already, you know what I mean? Old, men especially. We feel we have to kind of we have to find an older man to match where we're at. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because a 40-year-old man, we're in our 34s, right? I'm going to be 34 in October. So we're in our 33s. Mm-hmm. And so a 43-year-old man is going to be that much more experienced. We're we're already there. We can already deal with him mm-hmm. and where he's at. We can meet him where he's at. Whereas the 43-year-old, the 33-year-old man wouldn't be able to meet a 43-year-old woman.
Right. That's only with sex.
Yeah. I mean, this, yeah.
So you're trading off potentially with the older guy that, he's not going to be as adequate in the bed because his age or, that type of stuff. And
in your 40s, it should be fine.
Get those Bluechews.
Yeah.
Bluechews. Will you sponsor us, Bluechew?
I think for a guy,
Doesn't love _.
Hashtag Bluechew.
It can be half and half.
Yeah. Okay, so where do we end with what can we what can I as a woman, you as a man, actively do to start to, in our little bubble, mm-hmm. bridge the gap between men and women? What would you do?
So I think, and this is my honest opinion.
And then what would Rome do?
My honest opinion, I think men should understand who they are and what they should be as men. Right?
So they need to go to therapy?
Well, that or just understand themselves. Because, I never went to therapy, but I learned through books. Would you? I would, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
But through books and through people who I submit myself that know more. And by submitting myself is getting rid of what I think is good for me and learning from a person who knows more than me. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because a lot of guys are unwilling to submit. There's I am who I am. I'm never going to change type thing. But you should, if a person has more than you or a person has done more than you, you should listen to that person because they have more experience than you.
If you walk into their room, and you, and nobody else knows anything else, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong fucking room. And that's
100%.
how I've gone about things the last couple of years. I want to be uncomfortable. Like, I want to be sometimes the only black person in there. Like, I want to, like, soak up all of this for, like, my people. Like, you know what I mean? I want to learn. So, I feel like if you walk into the room and you're the smartest person in there, get the fuck out. Right. Exit stage left. Abort. Like, get out. Like, and that is honestly, like, means, like, your friends, too, unfortunately. That sucks. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you
so true.
Like.
Or people want to... Either they are or they think they are the smartest person in the room so that they can manipulate or control or do some
like
type of...
What is this guy we're talking about?
Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
That's Andrew Tate.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what the fuck he's doing.
Hashtag Andrew Tate.
Yeah, let's just cut it off now.
Well, yeah. But yeah.
Fuck Andrew Tate. Can we hashtag that?
Could. I mean, hopefully there's some good numbers behind it.
I mean, I've taken classes in Hustlers University, so
just listening to that clip of him, I'm like, this is
he's got a really good budgeting.
Wait.
He's got a really good budgeting.
Okay, I get the budget, but does he teach you how to make money?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yes.
Okay, then I guess you got your values worth.
But I've been to the war room.
This is my last episode.
Yeah, the war room. There's something that's even more radical called the war room. But yeah, that's...
Oh, fuck. I need to check. Next week is all listening all day, just work. It's not going to work out. I have, 45 hours of content I can, like, listen to, and I have to.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Stop giving that motherfucker your money.
Yeah. No,
what's wrong with you?
You don't have to get like the $50 a month thing. You can actually get one, like, whatever you want. Like, he has like an Amazon FBA thing you can enroll in and learn how to make money on Amazon.
I'm mad at you.
He's got
wasting. I'm just kidding. He's got if you think it's valuable, then
what's the other one?
Valuable.
Don't
but,
just because you're
What's the other one? The other one was affiliate marketing. He has an affiliate marketing program that he talks about, like, how to make money.
Wait, he has a Patreon?
Marketing. Not a Patreon, but it's his own thing on Discord. Yeah. But I'm not on that right now. I'm on
right now.
Else.
I'm sure a lot of people
cut that right now. I'm not on that.
Yeah, guys and girls.
We're gonna be big one day.
I'm sure they have
spent.
I'm sure they have spent or wasted money on stupid things, guys and girls. But
I think it's good to know, though, too.
Ours we can discard and throw away. Like bags, shoes, whatever. What the fuck he's doing is like, there's bank statements and shit attached to it. There's
like a reoccurring statement.
Yeah, there's comments. There's shit like there's input that he's put in. He's like, well, I think nobody fucking. There's no I think on some shoes. Like no, god damn it, Rudy. We're trying to be lucrative here. He does not support that.
We start our own.
Anyway.
Well, we might start our own business after.
Just kind of for where she said, fuck Andrew Tate.
Alright.
Yeah, fuck him. I believe wholeheartedly in that shit.
Okay, so the final wrapping, I think.
Let's wrap it up, okay.
When you said at the beginning that men and women should actually...
We're better together.
We're better, yeah. We're definitely better together. I think that is one thing... I can't even say that because I can date women also. But that's one thing that, like, we have, like, behind every strong man is a strong woman. Like, we all need us. Like, sorry. So, like, we are better together. And, like, we need to just have better communication, which is what you talked about. But I feel like we need to, like, seek that out solely first before... we start trying to communicate with our partners because, like, we might have an idea of what communication is and our partner, like, takes that communication differently. So, like, we need to do the work on ourselves. So I don't feel like couples out there should, like, discontinue their coupleship.
The coupleship. I like it. It works.
Like, okay, they shouldn't uncouple, right? Yeah. They shouldn't uncouple because they're not seeing eye to eye right now. It's like a question of, like, have you done what you need to do and have I done what I need to do? And, like, what we learned or what we got out of learning ourselves somewhat, like, similar? Can we work with it? Yeah. Like, I just feel like both parties really need to figure out themselves. Because, like, I think I said earlier, like, we have too many expectations. Yeah. Of, like, what we think our partner should do and be based off of what society has told us in the past, not like where we are now. So I think it's really important because like I do agree with the like couples give up too easy now.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, oh my God, you're breathing too loud. I fucking hate you. Get out of my house.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? But so I think like couples need to like figure out what that looks like as far as like what's making me feel like that, what's making me feel like that, come together and see if that's something we can work on. If it's not, it can be amicable. But like I feel like sometimes we don't want to like feel pain as people. Like, right? Like we're almost like more accustomed to physical pain than we are to emotional pain. Like we need to be able to take that pain equally. Like emotionally, like we need to be okay with that. Like, damn, like that person wasn't the person
share
for
that
me.
Pain.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, or share that pain. Like, you know what I mean? Like
don't just give it and then only not take it, or understand what they're going through. Like, yeah.
Exactly. Like, wow. I feel like it's like, well, my pain's greater than yours. Well,
right.
You don't know what it's like to be a man.
Right.
Well, you don't know what it's like to be a woman. I have kids. You don't know what it's like to be a man. I have to provide. Like, I have to do all these things. Like, no. Like, we figure out how to do those things together. Like, the previous generations before us, like, did that in a fucked up way and showed us how to do it in a fucked up way. But everything, like, the content that I consume is, like, undoing and unlearning. Like, we have to, like, backtrack on, like, what that is. Like, instead of, like, well, I give life, nigga, I can cook, like, da-da-da. Like, bitch, I can build you a house. Like, okay, let's fucking combine all that shit.
Right.
And, like, build an empire. Like, why does that have to be separate? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you should never have all the same strengths as your partner.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you guys should have, like, your own separate superpowers, right? If you will. Like, because that's just going to make the house stronger. Like, we can't both be two fucking weird-ass CPAs, like, in the house. Like, you know what I mean? It's an accountant, people. So, like, we can't be, like, two number-wise people, but we can't, if we go, like, to a gala or something, like, we're both, like, we don't know how to talk to people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not going to work. So, like, I just feel like we need to, like, figure out where our partner's strengths are, like, where our weaknesses are, and we just need to compensate, like, with each other, like, so, like, we can live in harmony and not, like, have this, like, back and forth, like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Well said.
Well said. I don't think I can add to that. That was well said.
Thanks guys. Okay, so subscribe to Rich at Heart Podcast, Dizzle_love, and
#1 Roodster on Instagram, and #1 Rudy on Twitter. Go ahead and follow both. Let me know what you think about the episode. Please leave a comment. We appreciate you. Sending much love from right here through the camera out into the space, which is the internet.
And fucking subscribe, Jesus Christ.
Subscribe.
Like, what do we have to do?